first video in the new apartment. If you're new to my channel, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. My name is Alex and I moved to Mexico from the US in 2017. And up until about a week ago, I called Querétaro, Mexico home, but at the end of October, I moved to Guadalajara. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing the ins and outs of our move. If you missed my announcement video sharing the news that I left Querétaro, then definitely check out that video. I've gotten a lot of really positive feedback that has meant so much to me, and I'm really excited to share with you today what this move is gonna mean for the channel, as well as how we found our apartment in Guadalajara, what the moving process was like. Lots and lots of good stuff coming up, and maybe a little sneak peek of the apartment itself. We'll see. Back in May, when we came to Guadalajara, we were supposed to be here for 10 days, just 10 days, and that little trip ended up turning into a 3-week stay. I can honestly say that I have never felt about a city the way that I felt about Guadalajara last May. I was already starting to imagine what life would be like here in Guadalajara. But I was like, okay, relax, Alex, take a step back. You're probably just getting caught up in the magic of being with friends. You're gonna get back to Querétaro and you're gonna remember how good your life is there, so just settle down. But all summer in my mind, I just kept thinking about Guadalajara. I couldn't shake the way that I felt about the city, and I didn't want to speak about it with Taylor. We did sit down together and film a couple of videos about Guadalajara, about our first impressions, about the pros and cons of living there, and I felt like those were the discussions that we were having about the city. We weren't really talking about it that much off camera.
Would you live in Guadalajara?
For me, I think that I would live in Guadalajara. It is such a cool city. Like I said, I really love the vibe. There's so much to do, all the options for dining. How about you?
We felt at home there, I would say, and so yeah, I would live there for all those things that we just mentioned.
In August, we went out for a walk together, and I finally had to bring it up. What do you think about moving to Guadalajara? I think I want to move there. Taylor was all in. He loved it just as much as I did, if not more, and was ready to make a change. We were both ready to make a change, and it just so happened that our lease in Querétaro was up at the end of October, so the timing seemed really good. Plus, it happened to coincide with our 5-year anniversary of moving to Mexico, and I really can't think of any better way to celebrate 5 years of living in Mexico than moving to a new city and experiencing a different part of the country. One of my main pieces of advice for people when apartment hunting, when looking for a place to live in Mexico, is to never, ever agree to a contract without having first seen the place in person. And that's not what I did here. Once we made the decision to move to Guadalajara, I started kind of just poking around online, looking at websites like Viva Anuncios, Inmuebles 24, just to kind of see what was out there, to get an idea of the different neighborhoods, budgets, that kind of thing. I knew that Taylor and I wanted a place with at least 2 bedrooms. 3 would be better since we both work from home. We wanted to have an office space. A parking spot was really important to us because yes, we are finally gonna get a car, and we also really wanted an outdoor space, a terrace, something like that. So I'm looking, I'm searching, looking and searching, and then one day this listing popped up. There was a WhatsApp number on the listing. I messaged her, and she actually told me that I was the very first person that reached out. When I saw the listing, it was the end of August, early September. And at this point, we had a trip planned to come to Guadalajara to do some apartment hunting, but that wasn't until later in the month. I think probably a week, 10 days until we were actually supposed to be in the city. But I was remembering the interview that I did with my friend Louise about her experience apartment hunting in Guadalajara and just how hot the market is here, how fast places go.
I think it was a little bit harder, definitely, than finding an apartment in Querétaro. In Guadalajara, it was a lot harder. So I ended up looking at maybe like 20, 25 places.
Oh my God.
It was a lot. It took me about a month, like maybe a little more than a month to find a place. And I think it was just harder because there was a lot more competition. So there was a lot more people looking for apartments. We would find an apartment that we liked and then it would get snatched up in like a week or less.
And I was just really loving the listing, and I didn't want to miss out on the place that was potentially perfect for us. I shot a message off to Luis and asked if she would be willing to go see the apartment for us. Obviously, Luis is a very, very good friend of mine. I wouldn't just trust anyone to go see a place on our behalf. So Luis came to the apartment. She walked me through it via FaceTime. I asked her if there were any weird smells or noises. She said no. And after her review, I decided to put down an apartado. If you've watched my Rentals in Mexico video, then you know that an apartado is basically a deposit, a small amount of money that acts as a hold so that the landlords, the broker, don't show the listing to any other potential renters. From there, the broker told us that the landlords wanted to do a póliza jurídica, which again, from the Rentals in Mexico video, you know is essentially an investigation, a background check into the renter to make sure that they have the necessary income, the necessary references if they're a good and trustworthy renter. We handed over half a month of rent for the apartado to, again, take the listing off of the market, and then 750 pesos for the investigation, for the póliza jurídica. In my mind, I knew it wouldn't be long until we'd actually be in Guadalajara and we could see the apartment for ourselves. And Taylor and I, just between the two of us, just talking, decided, you know what, if we get to Guadalajara, if we show up at the apartment and it's not what we want it to be, we'll just go ahead and eat the apartado and eat the investigation fee. We wanted to just go ahead and put that money down because we thought it could be a really great opportunity for us. Flash forward though, we ended up coming to the apartment. We were here in mid-September. We saw everything in person. We met the broker, we met the landlord. We signed the contract because we loved it. It honestly exceeded my expectations. When we signed the contract here at the house, we brought the first month's rent, we brought the deposit, which was equal to the first month's rent, and we also brought a 3,500 peso signing fee, which in the end, the landlords decided to return to us. They trusted us and just decided to kind of give it back as a thing of goodwill. As far as the logistics of actually moving all of our stuff from Querétaro to Guadalajara, here's how it all went down. I reached out to my good friend Ivan Pavan over at Host Relocation and asked her if she had a recommendation for a moving company in Querétaro that would do a move to another city in Mexico. Seriously, anytime I need a recommendation for something in Querétaro, in Mexico really, I know that I can reach out to Ivan for an answer, for a person that I can trust. And Ivan put me in contact with Claudia from KM Logísticas. When Claudia sent me the quote to move all of our stuff from Querétaro to Guadalajara, I kind of had a little bit of price shock. We kind of had a unique situation because in Querétaro, we lived on a pedestrian-only street in the Centro Histórico. So that meant that the truck could not just pull up into our driveway because we didn't have a driveway. And because we were in the historic center, there were only certain hours that the moving truck could come into the city center. And that ended up being not until after 11 o'clock at night. Additionally, here in Guadalajara, our apartment is on the top floor of a building. The elevator is really, really small, so the moving company had to bring a lot of stuff up the stairs. And that, as I'm sure you can imagine, drove up the price as well. In the end, we paid 20,000 pesos for the move, but it was honestly very, very worth it. Having all of the stuff here in Guadalajara that we had in Querétaro really made the space feel like ours from the jump. I really felt at home almost immediately, and it's been a really smooth process settling in. If moving to Querétaro was one of the hardest things that we have ever done, then moving to Guadalajara was one of the easiest. When we moved to Querétaro back in 2017, one of the big struggles, I'm talking such a big struggle that I honestly thought that we weren't gonna be able to live in Mexico. I thought we were gonna have to move back to the US. It was impossible to get internet installed. It took us, I think, a month and a half for us to get internet finally at our house in Querétaro. Here in Guadalajara, Taylor called, I think, about a week ahead to Total Play, and they were here the day that we moved in. They were waiting for us when we pulled up on Saturday, and they installed our internet that very first day. It couldn't have been more different than our move to Querétaro. The internet, by the way, is super fast, super stable, and I think that I think Total Play might even rank above Telmex for me now. Megacable, as you know, is still at the bottom. When we got here to Guadalajara, we also had a new mattress waiting for us. I ordered us a new mattress from Amazon Mexico. Wow, the overall selection on Amazon Mexico has just improved so much in the past 5 years. It really makes moving a lot easier and getting your stuff for your house a lot easier. Just so grateful to be here. I really feel like I'm just still riding the high of the move, and I just have never been so sure of a decision before. This absolutely feels like the right thing for me, for Taylor, for our future, and I'm so excited about being able to share this experience with you. As far as what's to come, I promise to keep it real and share what it's really like living in Guadalajara. I'm excited to share my first year experiences in real time with you, the highs and the lows. It's my hope that moving to another city in Mexico will give me a more well-rounded understanding of this incredible country. I promise to pass that understanding onto you so you can embark on your own life in Mexico with confidence. Check out my first impressions of Guadalajara video next, and let me know in the comments what kind of vlogs you're most excited to see.